Right on. Justin Franson here with my good buddy, Tim James, chemicalfreebody.com. Thank you, Tim, for joining us on our Urban Freedom Summit.
My pleasure, brother. I'm excited to be here and share and help people wake up and feel good.
Yeah, well, today we got an action-packed talk for you. You guys, Urban Freedom's all about taking care of yourself, your health, looking at what you're putting into your body, what's all around your body. This whole summit is covering all of that and so much more. But Tim is really one of the bigger speakers out there in the podcast circuit, talking about having a chemical-free intake and having your body really chemically free of all the bad that's the food industry's put into everything. We're unlearning what we've learned. Conventional isn't chemically just riddling our food and then saying that that's good and that's conventional. It's just not. So we have to really unlearn that. And Tim has this chemicalfreebody.com, the green 85 right there you see on the screen is what I take daily. It's my daily regimen for my greens. I love it. He's got some incredible other product supplements as well, some of the cleanest around. But the cool thing about Tim is he's got a pretty crazy story where he had some eczema, cleaned up his intake, body just came alive again. And now he's on this mission to really help people understand that you can have plant-based intake and be super clean about it. And then on top of it, he's a chef, but he's really an ambassador of the outdoors, knows it so well. So Tim, let's jump into Chemical Free Body. I want to learn about how you started formulating the exact products that you knew that would be best for you and the rest of the world.
Well, I appreciate again having me on, and I appreciate the listeners showing up for the summit. I hope you guys get some good takeaways here, and more importantly, go take action on it, because like a summit's just like a book. You can read it, and it can be entertaining or great, but you really have to put the rubber to the road, which is the action component. And what you put out, that's physics, right? What you put out is what's going to come back to you. So, I didn't know what I was doing, dude. I was like, I grew up on a farm on Eastern Oregon. I was hunting and fishing, a standard American diet, and I was out in nature a lot. We had a big garden, all that stuff. And I love fresh veggies and all these things, but I just didn't know what I didn't know. And then by the time I was 37, I was bleeding rectally when I pooped. That's why my shirt says "Love when you poop," if you guys can see me. And I was living in fear mode. I was a very A-type, outgoing, entrepreneurial type, athlete. And my universe was shrinking. I didn't want to take my shirt off at the beach because I was embarrassed, because my elbows were cracking and bleeding, and my knee was cracking and bleeding. I looked like a salamander man, and my mental clarity was going away. And I just didn't have very much energy anymore. And I was carrying around 42 pounds of extra weight, right? So finally, when I got on a vacation, I had to have basically life flighted to a hospital in Lima, Peru, and got a surgery to remove an organ to save my life. And that was a big shocker, dude, because I don't, thank God for the doctors and nurses for saving my life, but I don't ever want to get surgery again. And then my buddy got chronic lymphocytic leukemia, which is a blood cancer. We went to the Hippocrates Health Institute in Florida, and that's when I started learning about detoxing and nutrition and all these chemicals and toxins in the food and all this stuff, and I had no idea. And I learned to clean up my digestive tract. And then I learned how to purify my blood, fat, and muscle tissue of all these accumulated microtoxins that are invisible to the naked eye, that are definitely weighing you down. So if you look at it like this, man, imagine having a backpack on your back and it weighs 60 pounds and you have to pack that stuff around. Okay. That's a burden. But imagine the backpack has a can of toxic chemicals in it, and there's a little hole in it, and it's leaking into your back. Okay, now not only do you have the weight of this stuff, but you have poison coming into your body. Now imagine all of your little trillions of cells in your body, and they all have little backpacks on them, full of these little toxic backpacks with a little can of toxins in them, and there's a leak, and they're all leaking into those cells. That's where we're at today. If everybody would type in umbilical cord chemical, those three words into their browser, what they will find, umbilical cord chemical, is that every single child being born today and young mother, when they test the umbilical cord blood, They look for like 400 toxic chemicals. They find 71% of what they're looking for, about 250. 180 of those cause cancer in humans. Now, did you hear what I just said? I mean, these are young babies being born today, and 212 of these toxins cause developmental and brain disorders. We are being born polluted. This is why now we have children being born overweight. We have children born with type 2 diabetes. We actually have children being born with cancer. It's ridiculous. We are not evolving anymore. We're de-evolving as a species because of three things: a high amount of stress, number two, the amount of not the chemical pollution that we can't see, or body burden that the researchers referred to, and number three is deficiency in nutrients. We are disconnected from soil, our source, and the quality of the foods, and the commercialized, commercial food businesses. They just pasteurize, irradiate, box can, they spray your food. There's just a lot of stuff going on between you and your food and nature. So with these things happening, now we have a recipe for disaster, and that's what's happening. And this is why human beings today, Justin, we are the sickest that human beings have ever been in the history of humanity. So what are we going to do? We have to get people awareness. So when I went to Hippocrates with my buddy Charles when he had cancer, they gave me awareness, and then I freaking started taking action because I felt so good after being at that institute for a couple of weeks. Like I was reborn, dude. Like my energy levels, my mental clarity was back. I already lost 11 pounds. My acid reflux was gone. And very shortly, I stopped bleeding rectally. I lost all the weight. My skin healed up. All the eczema was gone. And now I'm on a mission to like, how young can I look? How young can I feel? And how can I teach other people to do the same thing? Because there's so many people out there that are also dealing with these issues, and they're not getting the right information. They go online. It's confusing. There's all these different diets and all this stuff. You go to the doctor. Half of them don't know what's going on. So, people have to figure this stuff out for themselves, brother.
How good does it feel to feel good?
Well, it's awesome. It's freaking awesome. I'll be 49 in just a few days. Well, June, about a month. June 7th. If anybody wants to send me a present, that'd be great. Make sure it's non-toxic. Just kidding. But it feels really good, man, because when I see my pictures, like I look at my before and after pictures, I don't even recognize the gentleman that I was, the guy in the past. I look at it and I'm like, I have actually a hard time relating to that, but I know it was me. And when I really think about it, I go back into that, that frequency of how I was living in fear. I was in denial, right? Imagine just like going to the bathroom and then, followed by blood. That went on for 2.5 years. And I would just like, well, I hope that goes away. And then I'd go back to, going to work, paying the mortgage, date night with the wife, playing with the kids, coaching football, coaching baseball, just hoping that stuff would go away. And it was just lingering and lingering, and my health was slowly getting worse and worse and worse. And it was just a matter of time before a wheel fell off, and then I found myself in the hospital getting an operation. My buddy, his wheel that fell off was chronic lymphocytic leukemia, this blood cancer. Other people's wheel that falls off could be MS. It could be Crohn's disease, diverticulitis. You could get, fibromyalgia. You could have headaches, neuropathy, type 2 diabetes. Everybody's got a genetic predisposition to a certain weakness. And when you have high amounts of stress, lowering your immune system, you have this chemical toxic burden on a cellular level that you can't see it, lowering your immune system, and that disconnect from nature where you are not getting enough nutrients. I mean, 85% of the freaking nutrients in the soil are gone. They're gone. They're not there. So even if you're eating organic, which is great because you're removing some of the chemicals and toxins going in because the pesticides, the fungicides, the herbicides, and larvicides, your food's still grown in soil that's 85% deficient. So most people, Justin, are walking around on 15% fuel. Imagine how good you can feel if you top the tank off and you're at 100% octane. That's what I am experienced now. So I've created a lifestyle, and I've gotten new habits to reduce my stress, daily detox, always getting the toxins out because they're always coming in because the air and the water and the foods today are just, that's the way they are. And then I'm also flooding my body with the type of nutrients that's missing in the soil. And that's how and then I let my immune system and nature do the rest. That's pretty much how we work over here.
I love it. It's so good, so authentic, and it's so true. I mean, we rolled out Soil Force to just add minerals for people's grow. So, that's a huge part of this mineral depletion in our soil from the pesticides, from the 5G, from improper farming. The list goes on and on. But so tell us more. I want to know about Green 85. Like, how do you formulate something like that? How does that all happen?
Well, Green 85 is the name, you know, when I made it, like I'm not some marketing guru or something. It was like I know 85% of the nutrients are farmed out of the soil. So I called it Green 85 for two reasons. Number one, I healed myself making green juices twice a day. When I went to Hippocrates Health Institute, they make fresh green juices and you have them twice a day. And then in their take it home program, they said, if you're not doing 2 green juices a day, do not expect the same results. You're not on the Hippocrates protocol. Now, this is coming from an institute that's, at the time 61 years old, and they have a clinical research on 600,000 human beings coming in, blood tests to prove it. You know what I'm saying? So they know what works and what doesn't work. They know. They actually they invented green drinks. That place did. So I knew I stuck to that. That was one of my foundations, 2 green juices a day. But it's kind of hard when I was traveling and doing stuff like that to have my juicer with me and sprouts and juice and all that stuff. So I'm like, I really need to create a powder. And then I made it just kind of as a backup for me when traveling. But then it just kind of took off and other people wanted it because I sold a lot of juicers, dude, because I had over 5,500 people to my house for these detox, nutrition, juicing, living raw food clinics because I become a chef and they were great. I learned a lot, but I sold a lot of juicers because I told him that I juiced, and this is me and my buddy Charles. And by the way, my buddy beat chronic lymphocytic leukemia. He's healthy today. It's been 11 years. He has no cancer. He got to see his son graduate high school, college. So that was a great story. But I sold a lot of juicers because I was showing them how I had healed myself. So people are like, oh, monkey see, monkey do. Tim got juicer, he healed. Charles got juicer, he healed. I'm going to get juicer and do it. But people, after a month or 2 or 3, the juicer was in the bottom of the cupboard because they basically just told me I don't have time. I got to make the juice and I want to clean the damn juicer. So that's where the powder kind of came in because I was meeting people where they were at. People are so frazzled and so busy and so overwhelmed, and there's so much information coming at them. They they start thinking that doing anything new, they blow it up into this big thing. And then actually juicing, in the beginning it takes 45 minutes to make it and clean it. But after you do it a long time, I can make juice for me and my wife and clean the juicer in 17 minutes flat. I got really good at it and proficient at it because I was doing it every day. But with the Green 85, you just take a scoop, shake it up in water, and drink it. In 1 to 2 minutes, you're done. It's about as close as you're going to get to a fresh pressed juice. So our formulator, Dr. Scott Treadway, who's in his 70s, he's a master herbalist in Indian herbology, Western herbology, and Chinese herbology. He helped me make that formula. It's a very, very well thought out formula based on Ayurvedic science. It's basically system science. It's like an engineering technology that's 10,000 years old from India, and that's what's wrapped around it. So there's actually a knowledge base in this green juice, and then on top of it, I don't spare any expense on what the ingredients are. So now, besides being chemical free and organic, we will take juice extracts. I'll give you an example. The main ingredient's wheatgrass, which is great. But a lot of these products out there that I actually used to use had wheatgrass blades that were ground up into a powder, like the grass itself. And that's fine because there are some phytochemicals in there and there's some cellulose. We can't really digest the cellulose of grass, but there are some good prebiotics from it. Will feed your bacteria, so that's okay. But what we did is we took the juice extracts from the wheatgrass and then we buy the concentrate. So you can get it in a 2-to-1 or a 4-to-1 concentrate or a 6-to-1 or 10 or 20-to-1. Whatever the highest concentrations are available, that's what we put in at the time. So this is a highly concentrated juice extract plus herbs. And then there's some digestive enzymes and vitamin D3 in there and probiotics. So it's just a nice blend. And we actually pulled some stuff out originally where we're going to have ashwagandha in there, but I found out that that's not conducive for pregnant or breastfeeding women. So we removed it. So this is a formula from babies up to somebody that's 100 years old, gut issues, it doesn't matter. We made it for everyone. I wanted grandmas and kids and moms and dads and everybody. And I've had my nieces since they were babies. They've been on it, and people that are older and all that kind of stuff. So that is the nutrition component. which is replacing the 85% of what's missing. And it's very well thought out.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I love it because it's not gassy. Well, first off, it tastes really good. So the taste is great, but it's not over sweetened. Let's say it just tastes naturally good. And then there's no rancidity. And then there's no gassiness out of it. You're not belching and burping. And a lot of times, especially with wheatgrass, people will kind of burp it up after. So whatever you did with it was fantastic.
Yeah, it was a home run. It took a lot on the flavor, and I'll tell you, if you're drinking a green juice that tastes absolutely delicious and it's like watermelon flavor or something like that, most likely those are synthetics. I hired 3 flavor experts to help me to do this, and it's when you take concentrated greens, I mean, that stuff tastes like pond scum, okay? It's just what it is. And to get something in nature that's so concentrated and so green, when people are so polluted and their taste buds are so far out of whack, to get it to actually not taste like pond scum was a monumental task. But we think we did a pretty good job of it. This flavor was 2 to 1 over the next flavor, which was actually chocolate. That was the other one that actually worked, which was kind of weird, chocolate greens, but whatever. But what we just did a little bit of monk fruit and raspberry extract, and that seemed to be the key. It just kind of covers it up, and it kind of just tastes like a light green tea. I mean, some people,
Right.
most people like it, which is quite odd for a green juice.
Yeah, definitely. But it's akin to my wife's company, Campo Beauty, and she has this essential oil, but she'll put some of the stinkiest oil in her blends, but it's such a subtle amount. And then, but the entire sense story for each ethos is it's addicting. It's an intoxicating sense story for love or energy, focus, relax, immune, sleep, gratitude, like whatever it is. So it's really fun to see, how you can put the good into it, have it, for you taste so good, for her smell so good.
Yeah.
Now let's dive into a little bit of some of the nutrients that you're pulling from being a chef, pulling into the greens. Like what are things that people should be looking for to add into their diet? Greens is such a big, spectrum. So if someone's going to look to add these in, what are you looking at? What are you having in your greens? What should they be chefing up and preparing for themselves at home?
Yeah, well, when it comes to food, it's really simple. Like, my kind of motto is like, we know because of the umbilical cord studies, we live in a polluted world. Okay, the air, the water, the food, all this stuff. So for me, I look at it like, and I'm going to get to your question, which is like, the most important thing is air. We take 20,000 breaths a day. So your air needs to be clean. So we want to get our air right. That's why we teach people to crack their windows and get an air purification system in their house, especially if you've got carpets. I mean, or if you painted your home in the last 4.5 years, because that paint still it's curing and it's off-gassing toxins. And there's a lot of toxins in the home. Homes are polluted. Number 2, we got to get your water right. So, whole house systems, triple purification systems, those Kangen units to restructure the water. We get into that too, right? So like my gal, Danusha over at mypurifiedwater.com, she's the one that helped me get my water right. Then we go to food. Well, we want clean food, but we want clean, fresh food. So to make this simple, you want clean, fresh food. And the fresher, the better. Any good chef will tell you what's the secret to all your recipes. It's fresh. They have herbs in there that they're plucking on the spot and putting them into the foods and stuff like that. And anybody that's eaten salmon before, if you've ever had salmon caught fresh and eaten it, and then you eat it the next day, even if it was in the fridge, it's a completely different experience.
Yeah.
It's completely different. It's still good, but it's not like it was when you catch it and eat it on the spot. And it's the same thing with like an apple. What do you think is going to be better? An apple or an avocado that's ripe, perfectly ripe, enzymes are its maximum potential, or you wait and it starts getting old and brown and then you eat it. You see what I'm saying? So fresh food is best. And this is why we teach people to, we teach them how to get green bags, right? There's everybody should know about green bags because they breathe. They have this mineral in them called Oya. They're reusable bags and they keep your produce super fresh in your fridge. So buy fresh food. Go to the grocery store. Try to get away from frozen stuff. You want fresh produce. Go to farmers markets. I mean, here we go. Farmers markets are coming into swing again. Get to know your farmers. Go to your local grocery store and start asking for sprouts. This Herbs and sprouts. These are things you can start growing in your home, and the kids love it. Kids love growing things, and if you start doing this with your children, you can actually grow gardens indoors in your home on your countertops for pennies, and you're actually creating not only the most nutritious food, but you're actually making food medicine. Right? Sprouts in general are about 10 to 30 times more nutritious than fresh picked vegetables. You can grow them on your countertop with no soil, like some of them, like lentils, red lentils, French lentils, green lentils, mung beans, the Chinese bean sprout. These can be ready in 2.5 days just out of jars on your countertop. And we're talking massive amount of nutrition here, right? People want to get zinc. Well, hey, mung beans are riddled with zinc, and it's bioavailable because it's been through the root system of a plant. So it's now carbon based. So it's going to work with your carbon based body, right? Rather than just maybe some zinc mineral that they put in a pill and they sell it to you because it says zinc on it, right? Hasn't been chelated. It's very important to do stuff like this. So zinc's really good for people trying to avoid, colds and viruses and that kind of stuff. Or for men, like it's really good for prostate issues. So just to give an example, so fresh foods are medicine. They have especially sprouts, dude, that goes to a whole nother level because they have an acronym of HOPE: hormones, oxygen, phytochemicals, and enzymes. When you cook food, even fresh vegetables, you kill all that stuff. You're still going to get vitamins and minerals and some trace minerals, but it'll be knocked back. But the hormones, the oxygen, the phytochemicals, and the enzymes, these other super micronutrients are wiped out. Hormones actually allow your bodies to communicate better. And more often today than not, especially for women, we have severe communication issues with our hormones because of all these microplastics and toxins and pesticides and crap that's bioaccumulated in our cells. Again, all of our cells are carrying around backpacks of leaking toxins on their back. It's in the cell. So our cells are weakened, tired, polluted, and we're weakened, tired, and polluted. So what's cool about sprouts is that you can control them. You can have them totally chemical free. They become medicine, and then they start pumping in these hormones into your body to help your cells start communicating better. They also pump in oxygen. Oxygen is our number one nutrient. Let's think about this. Without oxygen, how long can you live? About 4 to 7 minutes, and then you perish, right? So I look at it as a number one nutrient, behind freedom and love, right? So it's really important. Well, guess what? These plants, they breathe in carbon dioxide and they breathe out oxygen. So the chlorophyll inside of these plants is manufacturing oxygen, and when you consume it, you're putting more oxygen in the body. Well, the more oxygen in your body, the better, because harmful organisms like viruses, bacteria, mold, yeast, fungus, parasites, mutagens, these cancers, they all love a low oxygen environment. That's their breeding ground. That's how they grow and proliferate. So if you can make your body very alkaline and very high oxygen, you create an inconducive environment for those harmful organisms to manifest in your body. It's pretty profound. Fresh living foods and sprouts will put that into your body, another pathway. Then you have phytochemicals. Now, you can, right here in my home state in Oregon, there's the Oregon State University is one of the top phytochemical researchers. Okay. And just to talk about how profound this is, and I'm making a big deal about sprouts because this is something everybody can do. And with all these supply chain delays and preppers and people worrying about where they're going to get their food, you can grow food for pennies, the most nutritious food on the planet. You can buy tons of seeds and have it stocked up in 5-gallon buckets. This is why you want to do this. So it's going to cover many different things and worries that people might possibly have and concerns, right? So in 1991, if you remember this, Justin, the Johns Hopkins Cancer Research Division, they had these researchers in there that have been researching cancer. One guy, I think his name was Dr. Paul Tillet, he had been researching cancer for 50 years, looking under microscopes. What they did was they exposed cancer cells to a phytochemical or plant chemical called sulforaphane out of broccoli. And he said that after 50 years of research, he had never seen anything destroy cancer cells better than sulforaphane from broccoli, right? He said this was a breakthrough, and he called it phytochemo or plant chemo. That's what they named it, those researchers. That actually made it to the news lines, to the mainstream media, which healthy stuff usually doesn't make it out there because they want to sell you, poison and toxins and fear. But it made it out. And overnight, the price of broccoli seed had doubled, and it stayed doubled, then more than like red clover seed, or that's good for purifying the blood, or radish seed, or onion seed, or alfalfa seed. Broccoli seed doubled, and it's been that way from that one blip. Now, this was back when George Bush Sr. was president, and they have him on tape saying, "I don't like broccoli," and they dumped like 600 pounds of broccoli on the White House steps, right? So national news. This goes to show you how powerful media is, because it actually did some good there. It was just a little blip. All right. In Oregon State University, they've been researching these phytochemicals, and in 2011 they had found about 70,000 chemicals in wheatgrass that can heal and prevent disease. 2 years later, they had counted 74,000 and still counting. There might be hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of these chemicals, these nutrients that are in plants that are living. You can't pluck them and wait 2 weeks. They die off and ship them on average 2,500 miles like most of our produce, it's kind of insane that people live in California, yet they're getting their food from Mexico and other places when California grows like everything. And then it's like a fifth of the food grows in California, but Californians are not buying food grown in California. This is why we need to do local.
And all the food, it's green when they pick it. Like a green tomato, it's not even ripe.
Yeah, it's not ripe. And then when it's picked unripened, if you eat anything unripened, vegetables or fruit, you're going to actually lead to osteoporosis, osteopenia, bone decay in your teeth. You're going to have weak bones and brittle bones, because your bones will start leaching out and to buffer that, and you actually weaken your bones. So even if that plant was picked early and ripens and then you eat it, it's still technically unripened, and it's leading to osteoporosis, osteopenia, all these problems I just talked about. All right. But my whole point is that these phytochemicals in living foods are a big freaking deal. And you can get these in your home every freaking day by learning how to sprout. It's that simple. Right. And then the last one's enzymes. So living foods have enzymes. They help you process your food and digest better. And we need a lot of that. So anyway, fresh food is best. Lots of plant matter. If you're somebody out there going, "Oh, I don't want to eat just plants, I want to eat meat," fine. Try to limit your meat to, twice a day, no more than 4 ounces, but make sure it's high quality, clean, grass fed, the cleanest you can possibly get. And then eat tons of sprouts and tons of vegetation with it. Right. We even get into proper food combining, which is a class that I teach, because it's really important, because it's not just the kinds of food you eat, but the combinations you eat. Right. So anyway, that just gives people an idea. Like for food, it's just clean, fresh food, non-GMO, organic, local, and there's nothing more local than growing vegetables and sprouts, tower gardens and stuff like that in your own home, and have fun with it.
So do you follow the eat right for your blood type, basically intake and pairing?
I don't do that. Dr. Diadamo's work, I studied that a little bit. I think his heart was in the right place, but I think he was, from what I learned at Hippocrates, because when you go to Hippocrates, they put everybody on the same thing, and pretty much everybody flourishes. So that kind of blew through that whole thing. But I do believe that I don't believe in one size fits all medicine, and I don't believe in one size fits all food either, because everybody's different, right? But there are some certain fundamental things that are going to work for everybody, right? So even our products, I know that like 2% of the people that buy our products, they're going to have an issue with one of the products or something, because maybe they have an allergic reaction to a certain ingredient because of their own, stress, long-term nutrient deficiencies, and pollution. And a lot of times when we get people cleaned up, we get the pollution out of them through their gut, clean up their cells, their blood, their fat, and their muscle tissue, and then start giving them other nutrients. Eventually, the pet allergies, The seasonal allergies, the food allergies, they go away. And then a year, 2 years later, they can start eating foods that they weren't able to eat before, or their allergies outside, their eyes don't swell shut anymore, like with allergies, and their nose isn't all red and running and stuff like that. It slowly gets better and better and better. Again, as what they're doing is they're building the immune system back up. And if you look at it like a castle, they build the immune system back up so the invaders can't climb over the wall. They built the wall up too tall again. But it takes time. Your body is it doesn't work like take a pill and tomorrow you're better program, which is what they're sold. Everybody's sold on TV. Instant fix. It's not how nature works. You don't just have instant corn. You have to plant the corn. You have to weed it. You have to water it. You have to wait. Nature takes its course, and then you can harvest in the fall. That's how our bodies work. It takes time. That's why it has to be a lifestyle. That's why we believe in daily detoxing. We believe in self-healing and people becoming their own doctor.
Yeah, love it. Now, what's your favorite meal to prep? So this is urban freedom. I mean, how do you get free and know how to do this stuff? So if you're going to have your favorite dinner that you could share with someone that someone could easily replicate, what would it be?
Oh man, I that's it's a tough it really is a tough question. I'll give you an answer, but it's tough because diets, just like everything else, evolve, right? So somebody that's new compared to where I am at right now, they might not even be able to relate to me. But I really enjoy sprout salads. I really do. And one thing that I like, which is probably not the best thing to share, but is tempeh. But the tempeh is an artisan tempeh, and that's one thing I don't like. I mean, I like to share it with people, but you have to find an artisan tempeh maker in your local area, which not everybody has, and they're not using soy and black beans. We want them to use lentils and mung beans and chickpeas and quinoa and seeds and beans that are actually not been hybrid so much. So I'll qualify this. Why not soy and why not black beans? Soybeans have been hybrid by the Chinese culture for 5,000 years, splicing this bean with that bean, with that bean, with that bean, trying to get them bigger, do whatever they want to do. The African culture has spliced the black bean, same thing, 6,500 years. So what you have now is you have things that people really like. And if you look at them under a microscope, they've got tremendous nutritional qualities. But they're so molecularly dense from man-made manipulation and hybridization, you can't really get any nutrition out of them. You can't digest them. They just become almost indigestible. And I noticed this I've noticed the same thing with rice too, because when you're trying to sprout rice, that's like white rice and brown rice, it's almost impossible nowadays. You can't get it to sprout because of the manipulation. That's why we only teach people to eat wild rice. 100% wild rice. And read your packages too, because it'll say wild rice. And then you're making it and you look at the ingredients, and the first ingredient's brown rice. Right? It's like, what? So you have to look at the ingredients labels because they'll trick you. Believe me, we are being marketed 24/7 and we don't need it. We just need to get back to nature, back to simplicity, eating lower on the food chain and doing that. So what I like to do is get an artisan tempeh, stuff like that. But instead of that, you could use mushrooms. I like avocados, right? You can actually take cauliflower and chop that and make steaks out of it. You can grill or fried cauliflower steaks as an example for somebody. But I think the key takeaway here, Justin, is sprouts. Okay, these living foods. Finding ways to get these things into your diet. And if you're not ready to start growing them yet, go to your local produce manager if the store doesn't carry them, and ask them. Say, will you start bringing in some alfalfa sprouts and some broccoli sprouts and some red clover sprouts and some bean sprouts? Let me know what day they're going to come in. I will be your first client. And if you get them to do that, guess what? That section will grow and get bigger and bigger because more people want this stuff. People are looking for healthier options because they know what they're doing is not working. And so,
Tim, I mean, I have to tell you, I have known a lot of people that have had eczema on their skin, and not half as bad as yours. And not one of them, except for you, have been able to clear it. I mean, that's remarkable. So
yeah, and in 60 days, both of my elbows were clean, and that huge patch on my knee, it took about 8 months, but that's was a lifestyle.
Yeah, so it's a huge tribute to looking at what you're putting in your system and really understanding, like, hey, we're making a shift here. We want to make a shift as far as in every aspect of our life. We're reshifting. We're decentralizing where we're getting our food from. I just bought a home. We have a lot of trees in the backyard that were growing different stuff from avocados to lemons to limes to apple to peach to pomegranate and then also fig. So I'm getting a lot of great nutrients in. Somewhere we have these bedded gardens that we're starting to build out, creating a food forest, as Jim Gale would say, in our backyard, and looking at, which options we could bring in, from artichokes to blueberries to sprouts, and really starting to integrate and have a really nutrient dense backyard that we can just pull from. And those one little bite of any of those foods just changes your whole gut health. And so that's what's so important. And when you start consuming a whole meal out of it and then doing it multiple times a day, your body just starts to thrive and come alive. And it's like trying to breathe with 4 masks over your face. It's like feeding yourself with just crap food. It just doesn't work, and it's not sustainable.
Yeah. Well, I will say this is that if you look at it from a logical standpoint, the first thing to do, is make your health a priority. If you don't have your health where you want it, it's because you simply have not made your health a priority yet. And even if you did, then you might have been misled because you got the wrong information. Like I got a lot of I don't know how I gravitated to it, but I got all the wrong information. I tried all these different diets and all this crap for years until I went to Hippocrates and I got down to nature and the basics, that things started working for me. So that's number one. Number two is detoxing is first, right? If you have a car or a tractor or a machine and it's not running right, you just don't go like, oh, I'm going to throw better fuel in it and that's good. No, you need to take it into the shop. You need to flush the transmission fluid. You need to flush the engine, new spark plugs, new fuel filter, new oil. Then you maintain it. You have it on a regular schedule. Everybody knows that if you put good inputs and you take care of things and you maintain them, that car is going to last you a lot longer. The tractor is going to last you. The lawnmower is going to last longer, rather than somebody that just rides it hard and puts it wet. It's just, you got to take care. But nobody was giving an owner's manual of your body. That's what we're trying to do. The owner's manual is this: you are nature. Your body is mostly made of water. Where do you find that? Nature. Your body's made of minerals. Your bones are made of minerals. And when you die, if you're thrown, I want to be thrown on the dirt, but if you were to be cremated, what's left? There's minerals. Where do you find that? Nature. Your gut microbiome, the same bacteria are in the soil. There's soil microbiome. So there's the disconnect, man, is people don't think that they're from nature. We are, and we have to get back to that. But the first step is removing the man-made microscopic invaders, this microscopic pollution that you can't see, cleaning up the digestive tract. Well, it's actually two things, man. The average person is carrying around 6 to 12 pounds of impacted fecal material in the colon. This has got to be removed. And you can either do it through colon hydrotherapy. We have a product called Gut Detox that you can get most of that stuff gone in 15 days with no diarrhea. That's a good solution. You got to get that removed, and you got to start cleaning your blood, fat, and muscle tissue of this chemical burden. You get that crap out of the way, and then you put the good fuel in, and you start working on your stress levels by getting some new tactics for that, some new like breath work and meditation and going outside in the forest and that kind of stuff. And you're going to get your life back. So I think that's really important that people understand, is the detoxing is the first step after putting your health as a priority. You're on mute, brother.
What I love about how you articulate is basically you have these sequences and steps to doing it. So it's like, hey, let's flush this out. And then, so go over your different steps and products that you have affiliated with each step.
Okay. And one thing I was going to say, for those, if you guys want more information on sprouting, which I'm totally want you guys to do, I have episode 48 of my podcast, The Health Hero Show, is how sprouting increases your nutrition up to 800%. That's the title. So it's episode 48. If you want to get into, I got 92% of how to sprout all in that episode. Okay. So the steps are this: once you've made your health a priority, we look at the air. Okay. So we usually Have people start cracking their windows, especially at night when you're sleeping. We want to get fresh air into the room. Beyond that, then we have them get an air purification system. Step 2, now we go to the water. Where are you getting your water from? If you're on a budget, we have you buy gallon glass jars and at least go to your local grocery store and start packing single purified water that pulls out 90% of the contaminants, whether it's reverse osmosis, deionization, or distillation. Those are the type 3 that I found of purifiers. They'll be at the local grocery store, again, 25 to 50 cents a gallon, and you can start packing your water. That's a good first step. If you have funds and the ability financially to do it, then we turn you on to a whole house system, triple purification systems for the water, restructuring devices. The water is probably the most expensive one if you want to do it right. But once you got it, oh my God, like I'm literally high on water every day. I'm high on water, and it's quite a profound thing. And if you get your water right, it also increases the absorption of your new food you're eating and the supplements you're taking by 6 to 9 times. So you're getting way more bang for the buck for the other inputs you're putting in simply because you got your water right. And a lot of people, you don't understand this because I didn't know, especially if you're on city tap water. Besides wanting to get your water clean and purified, it has to be restructured. This isn't like, well, maybe I should do it. No, it's like if you're on city tap water, you have to restructure your water because those high pressure pipes have made these water molecules coagulated. They've gotten bigger, and they're like bowling balls trying to go through a chain link fence. The bowling ball, the water molecule, the chain link fence is your intestinal lining. You just drink a lot of water and you pee a lot out. Drinking more is good, but once you restructure that water, you'll drink it and it just disappears into your system, and then it'll come out later. And now your cells start really getting hydrated. Your lymphatic system, which is your garbage removal system, starts getting much more hydrated, which has the ability to push toxins out better. Your brain gets hydrated, so you actually increase your IQ. I mean, water's it's a monumental deal, dude. So it's definitely something to start saving some money and getting these units together. I actually do 2 units. I'm on my 6th unit. I do a triple purifier, and then I run it through the restructuring device that also creates molecular hydrogen, right? To charge me. I'm high on water. Okay. Now beyond that, then number 3 is we just get them on we start them off on our products. So we have them in the morning, take gut detox to start removing that 6 to 12 pounds of impacted fecal material in the colon. And then after that job is done, then they just continue to take it, but they take half as much. And then over time, it'll keep the digestive tract clean. Those little intestinal villi, it'll microscopically cleanse them without ripping out your good bacteria, which is monumental because we don't want to take them out. They're part of your immune system. And then slowly it'll clean up your organ systems. The other product that Dr. Treadway developed for the military to pull depleted uranium out of the soldiers from the tank rounds is a product called Toxin Detox. It's actually 2 products that he built for the military, and we combined them. And this one removes the heavy metals, the radiation, and the pollution, the toxins, the pesticides, the fungicides, the gas, and all this other crap that people are breathing in, automobile exhaust, and all this stuff from the cells, the fat, and the muscle tissue. So in the morning, it's really easy, man. I take 3 of each for maintenance, and I wash them down with a big jar of water in Green 85. So I'm doing a daily detox every day. This is what I've been doing for like 7 years with those 2 products. And then I wash them down with my greens. So at the same time, I'm flooding my body with the nutrition. So it's like a 1-2 punch. I've got the insurance policy to make sure my digestive tract is clean, my blood, my fat, my muscle tissue is clean. It's very gentle. And then I have the greens flood my body with nutrients. That's my morning. And it literally takes like 2 minutes to do that. So this is where it's cool because I've learned to meet people where they're at. That's why we developed the products. So we're basically delivering a clinic in a box to you. For those that don't have time or maybe the money to go to like a Hippocrates type health institute, which I totally recommend everybody should.
Yeah, that's great. And I mean, I have to second everything you're saying and then add one more. It's clean air, water, food. And then in addition to the air is electricity. So I know you're a big fan of our grounding bags and all, but that is such a huge part of another environmental stress.
Well, it is huge because there's different types of detoxing. Okay. If somebody hires me to come to their home and detox, We're detoxing their refrigerator. We detox their pantry. We detox their office, their car. I had a coach a long time ago, man. He had a coach he was paying a coach $100,000 a year to get coached. He was a high level coach. And he said, look, my coach told me clean car, clean desk, clean closet, and never more than one project. So it's when you get the clutter out of your life, you feel lighter and it just, you can deal with more. So that's why we clean everything up. So we clean up the gut, we clean up the cells, the fat, the muscle tissue. We help people with that. We help them clean up their environment, their bedroom, everything, their bathroom. We get everything dialed in. And you also, when you're looking at your environment, you have to think about electromagnetic frequencies. You have to think about, do you have a smart meter outside of your house somewhere? Do your neighbors have one? What are you doing to mitigate that? Do you have Wi-Fi? What are you doing to mitigate that? Is your head within 3 foot of a light socket? If so, you're getting hit with ELFs, electric low frequency, and it's messing up with your sleep. I actually took a little device this guy showed me. When you get within 3 foot of an electrical socket, it goes. So the closer you get to it, I'm like, oh crap, my head's in that. Your children's head could be in that field. Your body could be in that field. So now there's like little devices you can plug in there that will neutralize that or block it. Right. And you guys have those. And then you told me also something I learned, that the solar panels are some of the most dirty, nasty, toxic frequencies you could get. And people have those above their heads because they're on the roof. So we're getting zapped from above, zapped from the side, zapped all around. And this is why we have people that have a lot of sensitivities. They'll have an electrician come in and we have them rewire it. So at least their master bedroom where they sleep, they can flip a switch and they can stop all the electrical current from coming into that room while they're sleeping at night.
Yeah. Well, thanks for jumping in on that. I mean, this is such a big topic. You go from really having the right food and growing your own food and then preparing and combining it. But then even before that, you're flushing your system out and detoxing, and then getting rid of the toxins. And so you have to have the right nutrients, because you can pull stuff out of your brain in and out of your tissues, but then how do you excrete them? How do you actually get them out of your system? So there's so many different components. And then what nutrients do you put back in your system? And then how do you look at your whole environment all around you to really see that it's just not one thing. It's not just one little, pill. If we were the pharmaceutical industry, we would have that pill and we'd be like, hey, it's just this one pill and you take it. And
don't change anything. Just take the purple pill and then off you go, which is typically what people are getting right now. So,
exactly.
Yeah.
Well, it's super fun to hear that whole journey that you've been on, see you be such an ambassador and have such a massive voice in this space. So thank you, Tim, for all you're doing, your voice, and the energy that you're putting out there. It's magnetic.
I appreciate it, man. And let me give a visual for people, because see, I'm a visual type person. I learn by looking, seeing, and doing, right? Hearing things is one thing. I'll give you an example. Like, you walk into a grocery store and you go into the meat department. If the meat in a normal grocery store was not injected with nitrates and nitrites, you read this on the cover of the ingredients, nitrates and nitrites, about 40% of that meat would be gray in color.
Yeah.
Think about that. For those of you that are consuming meat, would you want to eat gray slabs of meat? Probably not. But guess what? A lot of you are. 40% of you are picking that crap up and you're eating what would be gray meat, but it's been injected with nitrates and nitrites. But you can't see it. It's hidden. And what I'm talking about here, like chemical-free body and the mission that we're on, is when I say chemical, I'm also talking about like, dirty air, dirty, rogue frequencies like the 5G and the ELFs and all this stuff. It's this no-see-em, invisible stuff that's causing the problems. Just because you can't see it doesn't mean it's not there. It is there. Never forget this. Every single child being born today is polluted with cancer-causing chemicals in the womb. This is ridiculous. And as adults, we have to have awareness of this, and then we need to have solutions. And it's not just the toxic chemicals. It is the 5G, the Wi-Fi, and these types of things. that we have to protect ourselves from. We just can't be in denial like I was. Oh, I got blood in my poop. Back to work. Hope that goes away. This stuff will not change unless you change it. If you want cleaner air, you have to start cracking your windows at night, and you have to get an air purification system in your house. If you want clean water, you're going to have to take action on that. If you want fresh food, better fresh foods, you're going to have to take action on that. But once you do it, you're going to start feeling better. You'll have more energy, and you're going to want to do more. And you're going to feel pulled to do it. Like you have to go force yourself or motivate yourself. You're going to have more energy. I don't know how to explain it, but like I'll be 49, like I said, in June, and people think I'm on crack because I have unbridled, unlimited energy. I went on a trail run yesterday and I sprinted all around the mountain, up over the top of the mountain. And I was just like, I just can't believe I'm doing this because, 11 years ago, I would have had to barely huff and puff just to walk up that hill. My kids can't keep up with me and they're 19 and 22. So it does work. It's worked for me. I have first-person experience. My friend's healed himself of cancer doing it, and I've helped thousands of other people do the same thing for the last 11 years. So it's just common sense, and people really need to just take the reins of their health back. And there's something profound about this too, because when you heal yourself, you get the satisfaction of knowing you did it yourself, and you become a much very stronger person, and your intellect goes up, and you don't start buying into all the propaganda and the garbage that's out there either. So I think we need more of that.
Oh, a lot more. And yeah, I mean, you're such a freedom fighter and warrior on this. I know you're talking a lot with Dr. Shiva on creating tribes and really implementing stuff. And so appreciate all your voice and freedom. I mean, guys, everyone listening, these are the people that we have on the summit that believe in God, that are just really have incredible value systems and that understand your body, your sovereignty, and that if you're protected above, you're connected, but then how to actually take care of yourself, on the ground. You have this awareness of all the different components that go into what health is and what it's not. And we all know it's definitely not a shot or something covering your smile. So appreciate your contributions to helping me actually clean up my intake even more with producing some incredible products. So thank you.
Hey, Justin, it's been my pleasure. I've really enjoyed our friendship over the last couple of years and look forward to many, many good years with you. And for the listeners out there, you're in the right place at the right time. I hope you get a lot from this summit, and I hope that you take action on what you learn.
You got it. You guys, Tim James, chemicalfreebody.com, correct?
Yep, chemicalfreebody.com.
All right, you guys, you heard it live from Tim James. Make sure you follow up and implement it. You gotta walk the walk. It's not easy, okay? It's not an easy path to take. It takes work. It takes work to get the results that we're getting. We don't just wake up and just be like, oh, we're healthy. And yeah, I surf big waves and play beach volleyball and free dive and stand up paddle and play tennis and pickleball and this and that. And, you go on runs and conquer mountains and ski and snowboard, what have you. We don't just get to do that at about 50 without putting work into it and feel good and have lots of energy, aesthetically look good. Like that doesn't happen unless you're putting some effort, and that effort comes with awareness. So I encourage everyone to check out Chemical Free Body and start to really dive into the awareness of all this going on around us. So, all right, Tim, we'll sign off now. Thanks so much for everything.
Thanks, brother. Appreciate you.